coming in.
Yeah, we're all sliding on in. I love this. It's like a full Brady Bunch in the session. This is so cool. But hey, you heard that right at the top of the show. We have the actors from Law and Order, the musical. And we have Godfrey Flax. Oh my gosh, he's getting tangled in. This is hilarious. If you only saw this.
Hold on,
he's like, I'm getting yanked. We're going to get Godfrey in here real
trying
quick.
to start a Law and Order thing.
We're
here
already
by murdering him.
our
real,
comedy.
Real silently, right? And we have Annie Bond, and this is such a cool feeling because I got to get straight on into the point. When you hear Law and Order, the musical, you just wonder, is this a satire? Or is this like, are you guys being for
hope.
real?
Yeah.
You hope.
I mean, I sure hope it is a satire.
Yeah,
Well,
me
I mean,
too.
how long have you guys been in on this play for so long?
I think since November is when we started.
Yeah, that's when we were
Yeah.
cast. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. And so how is that experience when someone approaches you to be like, hey, I want you to star in Law and Order, the musical? That must be kind of a strange process because isn't it like a feel-good story? Because I always laugh that it always
Yeah.
seems like the films that are like TV shows that are turned into plays like SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical.
Which
Those
I love.
It's
tend
so
to
good.
be the fun
I love
plays. So what can, audience members or even the listeners on the air, what are they getting out of Law and Order?
Well, it's definitely like procedural language still that you get all that fun. Like, there's so many words. What's happening?
Right.
But we're definitely making fun of a lot of the flaws in the criminal justice system, a lot of the, people that are just on a mission to make a judgment or close a case just to be like, I want to go home. And also a lot of inherent racism, sexism,
Yes.
all that.
Give
fancy
a breakdown.
stuff.
Give a breakdown of the suspect characters because it's actually
Yeah,
really
like
good.
who- like
Who are
who-
the suspects?
Yeah, or
Give
who's
us a
playing
breakdown.
Ice-T?
I'm a suspect.
You're a
actually.
suspect.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how would you describe yourself in the play?
Well, I play Sammy Dunbar, who is this sort of hot-headed homosexual guy he's a foodie. That's kind of his
Yeah,
name drop.
foodie.
And my song, my duet with Ebenezer Elassi, who is a very, very talented man, in the play is called Red Herring, because my character is the quintessential red herring that you have in every procedural, whether it's Law and Order or Death in
Right.
Paradise or Monk or whatever, and you have
Yep.
these characters where they're just trying to mislead you. It's totally going to be the gay guy who really likes biscotti, and like that's what they're like really pushing.
course it is.
Especially when you're into foodies. Like,
Yeah.
what does that even mean? Are you like an Instagram influencer?
No, my character really, really likes good food.
And anyone who likes biscotti is obviously a serial killer.
Like, have
Obviously.
you
Just
ever
saying.
met a sane person who likes biscotti? Do you eat biscotti?
I eat
I don't
biscotti
even-
and I'm insane.
Isn't
Yeah.
biscotti? Is that
It's
an
good when
Italian
it's
thing?
fresh.
Is it Italian?
Oh,
For
yeah,
sure,
it's
yeah.
Italian.
I don't- right?
It's Italian, and
Yeah.
it's
I think
your
I learned that
it's
from
your
the
old-
Irishman.
It's your old
Right?
bread.
Yeah,
it's
it's
your
twice
old
baked cookie.
twice
Yeah, and you-
baked,
Yeah.
what you should throw away, but instead of throwing it away, you just dunk it in a coffee.
I think you're
See, I always thought it was.
thinking
Yeah, no, I thought it was wine, right?
Biscotti is the
No,
cookie.
it's for coffee. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a twice
well,
baked cookie.
What
Yeah.
kind of a foodie are you?
See,
What
He's
a
not a real one,
biscotti
no.
is. Look
Yeah,
at
you
that
don't
actors.
even really know.
I've been
All
caught.
right, so I'm the true serial killer.
So but we kind of wanted to put you guys to the test and see how
Okay.
well you guys actually know the intro to Law and
Oh,
Order.
okay, let's do
Okay.
it.
Do you
Yeah.
guys know the intro?
I'm an SVU fan through and through, which I'm very glad we're not doing a SVU parody because it would be a lot harder.
Well, you know what's so funny? I actually have the SVU intro script in front of me.
Oh, go
no.
for
Do you
it.
think you know this one?
I think I do. If I
Okay.
don't, I will be very disappointed.
we will let
in
you
myself.
know, and if you get it correct, we will hit you with the
Uh,
dun dun.
wait, hold on. Let me try it one time. Hold on. I wasn't on. Oh, that's if you're
Well,
wrong.
that's if you're That's not a dun dun.
Hang on. This is if you're right.
Jeopardy. Ooh.
But no,
You
you're
want-
gonna be right if you actually
Oh,
land
you want
the
this
li-
one?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Wow.
So let's
I
see.
failed
That's
today.
the
Annie
move.
Bonds thinks she's on top of it, so we want to put you
Yes.
to the test. Here we go.
Okay.
You can start it now.
Oh, you want me to do it?
I think you should,
Okay.
because I'm kind of cheating. I'm looking at it.
Ah.
I'm quizzing you.
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the people who investigate these things are known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
Close
it's something like
enough.
that.
Yes, you gave it right. Okay, Godfrey, you think you
Mariska
got this?
Hargitay, please love
Whoa,
me.
whoa, whoa! I think I know the Law
No,
and Order
hey,
one.
Annie's already tried, so it's only right if
Alright.
you participate.
Okay.
Now
okay.
she did like 98%
Oh,
right.
I'll take it.
Oh my
So
God.
You really
can
did.
you
That was
can
really
you
close.
do 100 and go?
Can I phone a friend?
No.
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 Well, let me get
Where do you
my.
think we are?
Let me get my
We're on the
sales.
radio, man. We're putting you on the spot.
I
So
know.
all the
Oh,
listeners
God.
want to know how legit Godfrey Flax is from Law and Order, the musical. Here you go.
Go.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two equally yet important groups. The Red Party.
The
It's
red
not
party.
easy. It's the red party. In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York
Heinous.
City,
Hyenas.
are
They're
especially
hyenas.
anus. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. So you guys pretty much
These,
got it.
Yeah.
these are their
stories.
stories.
Oh,
Cannot forget that.
So as we're kind of laughing about this because it's so iconic. I mean,
Yep.
you know, Law and Order's been around for like 20 years. So what nostalgia factor does the Law and Order the musical bring for fans who are just so indulged into that series?
Yeah, I mean, from the very, very start, I remember our opening night audience, because the opener we sing the theme song. So imagine instead of all of these fun sounds that you get on however they made those fun keyboard sounds,
Yeah, right.
we're like
It's
singing
you.
it in harmonies and stuff. So you get a lot of
Wow.
that. It's definitely, especially for original Law and Order fans, a lot of the names are taken from those. But as an SVU fan, you still recognize a lot of like the tropes and everything, and
Yeah.
all like, because it's the usual things. And even I've been watching SVU while I get ready to like go to the show to get myself in the mood to solve some crimes.
To actually feel it.
Yeah,
Well,
and
that's
there's
kinda-
always so many like things where it's like, oh, this bisexual, biracial person who was also maybe like in the mafia, and then oh, the prostitute's suspicious, but she's not, and
Well,
it's great.
Andy, you kind of touched upon something that I was definitely curious, and I know Marissa was too. It's like, what does music even sound like for Law and Order the musical? Like when I think about it, I
Can
can't
you
even
guy do a little
put something-
harmonizing for us right now?
I
Oh,
cannot
two
harmonize.
parts.
I am so bad at harmonizing.
All right. I want a line. I want a line
we
and
can do that.
sustained
give us something
vibrations.
from it.
Ooh, we can be like,
What?
do 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 do.
Bum bum.
Do 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 do.
Bow 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 bow.
Murder in New
Bum
York.
bum.
What a vicious murder.
Yay! Wait, hold on.
Yeah, hit him with it.
There you go.
Hit him with the high.
Hey,
No, just kidding.
wrong button.
There we go.
No, I mean that's interesting. So is it more like a cappella style of?
Just the first song,
Just
yeah.
that first song, which our musical director, if he's listening to this, is gonna kill us tonight.
It's like, those were off.
No, but I love that. So you get a little bit of a cappella, and then there's
Yeah.
actually some composed music. So
Oh,
is
yeah.
so it's really kind of ranging from that sound that's happening
Yeah.
from the actual theme
Well, and the
intro.
full musical, there's really, you get a little bit of everything. Like there's a tango, and there's like a jazzier number. and-
One of my favorite numbers is still "Trauma Always Plays a Factor," which is one of Annie's numbers with
nice.
Elise Mamoon, who's
director
the
and
writer,
writer.
director, actress.
Yeah.
We love you, Elise.
We love you, Mom.
And why?
So
do
Annie, who do you play? Sorry, we heard about
Oh,
Godfrey. He's
I
a
play-
homosexual foodie. He's not really a foodie.
Right, we both play a
Called
multitude of characters. He gets
Okay.
to play a hamburger at one point, which I'm extremely jealous of.
I know,
but
I know.
yeah,
That
there's
sounds
some
like my
animosity
favorite
between
role.
us, but it's okay.
Just
No.
a
I
little
don't even. I feel like I'm
Right.
taking an acid trip now. Like, are we still talking about Law and Order
Oh
the
yeah,
musical?
it's an
Yeah, where are you?
ensemble.
Yeah, where-
No,
where-
I'm like I call myself I'm a random cop, and
Okay.
then I am a distraught daughter. I'm a frantic social worker with a great mullet. I'm a former mafioso mistress, and then I also am the court psychologist, so the very compassionate.
Ooh, which one's your
one.
favorite role?
Oh man, that's a hard question. I really love the
mobster?
prostitute, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
the
there we
mafia
go.
mistress.
Let's
what
do
about
or
the
the prostitute.
prostitute
There we
that
go.
sells the
Her
show?
name is Cupcake. She
Ooh,
has
already.
a PhD also.
Oh.
She's very
Oh.
fun.
It's starting to
man.
sound like the millennial generation.
What does she have a PhD in?
Chemistry.
Oh
Not
my
me, as you can tell. I was like, a science thing.
And why does the Law and Order series work so well as a musical?
It works so well as a comedy, I think, especially. And then the music always adds an element of magic to
Yeah.
everything. So it really elevates it to be like, oh, we're watching a story, but you can play on different emotions with people. We have great choreography by Lou Becker, who's a genius.
Amazing.
So it's also just going from something so serious, like a murder has happened, oh my gosh, and then all of a sudden, like one of the numbers that it's called Pretty Girl, it's a shame. Yeah, so they sing about how much of a shame it is when a pretty girl gets murdered, but it's like a fun dance number while there's a dead body on the stage.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
It's one of my favorites.
Mine
And
too.
where is it located in Hollywood?
Yeah, you go.
Me?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
it's
know.
at the Broadwater Second Stage in Hollywood.
Hollywood and what?
Like Santa Monica and Vine.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Between
Just
Cahuenga and Vine.
Just letting our listeners know, because
There's a
Hollywood
bar
is
right
kind of
next
big.
Hollywood is
door,
quite
yeah.
big, yes.
there is a no bar.
For
That's the one.
21 and up listeners.
Right. Well, of course.
So bring your fake ID.
Bring your fake
Yeah,
ID.
bring your fake ID. Only Marissa's advocating for this, but I know that the show's got what? How many
I
weeks
had a
is
fake
that?
ID. You didn't have a fake ID?
Yeah.
No, I never really had to care about that.
So we were
What?
cool.
I,
Yeah,
I
'cause
didn't have a
they're-
fake ID either.
You had a fake ID,
I
right?
had a fake ID.
Yeah. Okay. So these guys are losers.
Well, I
Whoa,
can't even
whoa.
You're awesome.
Well, I can't even believe I'm even
Life of the
saying this,
party.
but I won't even say the gentleman. But there used to be a guy in Pomona who would sell
What's
to
the story?
people who were 18 years old all the
Oh, there you
time.
go.
And if you picked up the right 30 rack, he knew exactly who you were. He wouldn't let you buy anything else. If you picked up that 130 rack, you didn't need a fake ID. So that's how you roll.
We just find a
That's how you-
sister, like a friend's older sister, who would be like, okay,
Well,
you
yeah.
look
Yeah.
enough like me.
I did
have
that.
fun.
White
Yeah.
people all look alike.
It's true.
So it's
True.
actually
Oh.
really simple to get
But
another.
all my
ID.
brothers were all a year apart, and then my older brother's a Mormon, so he's not going to
Oh, yeah.
advocate for any of that.
Too
so
bad.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know,
It is
man.
too bad.
I heard Mormons are the freakiest.
They could be. Hey, but you heard about their drama that happened with them. I mean, the
No.
BYU is actually
Oh.
dealing with their
Oh.
LGBTQ plus stance right now because I guess 3
Oh.
weeks ago they came out on their university campus saying that they want everybody to come out because they want to accept everybody. It's not exactly the case, but that's not what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Law and Order, the musical. We got Godfrey Flax and we got Annie Bonds, and we're going to be right back after this commercial break. Back, we always love Lily Joy, and that was
What
such
an
a funny.
angel.
Yeah,
Oh
she
my
really is. She
gosh.
was beautiful. I mean, she was on The Voice. She's a
And
young
she
16-year-old
just turned
contestant.
17
Me
last
too.
week.
No.
Yeah, I
I
know,
know.
me too. But hey, you know,
With
we
all
were,
the stage makeup,
Yeah.
I'm always 17, darling.
so we were talking about Law and Order, the musical. So I kind of wanted to, kind of switch gears and kind of actually talk about the criminal justice system. And is there something satirical when you think about our own justice system that you think is laughable and that we probably should put more focus on this issue?
Ooh, believing women. But
Yeah.
that's a hard thing to laugh about because it's so real.
Why,
And what
why
you
would
mean
you
by
believe
that?
us?
Right? Well, just when women report crimes or when women have health issues, it's very often that we're looked at as like, oh, you're just being emotional or it's
Yeah.
your period.
Well, let
And-
me jump to
Which,
this.
in defense, sometimes it is just my period.
It's true.
just in defense.
Like, just I have
Right?
to throw that one out there. I have
But
sent
let
the
us
apology.
bring it up.
Yes,
Yeah.
I sent the apology one, but let me apologize
Yep.
and acknowledge it. Don't you?
Well, I
Don't
think
you
you're bringing
acknowledge?
well, I think you're bringing a good point because I remember like a couple months back, especially at USC, for example, they had the highest report of women saying that they've been stalked on campus. I
Yep.
think it was as high as
Uh-huh.
like it wasn't even 3 anymore. It was like
Because you guys are
five.
creepy.
5
yeah.
and 1. And
5 and 1?
It was 3 and 1, 5 and 1.
Especially with social
Someone,
media.
someone
5
get
and
on
1
the
probably.
internet and quote me. But it was like
It's
literally
probably 5 and
every
1.
3 and
Wow.
1 person like literally felt unsafe as a female student at USC.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that only feels real. And then, but even on Wednesday, you heard about presidential candidate that was running, Elizabeth Warren. She became very vocal about how she felt like sexism does play a role in election cycles. So
Of course.
what do you
Yeah.
think about that, Marissa?
Me? I just said, of course it does.
Well, I
Of
mean,
course it does.
okay, but I mean that kind of just lays flat because
Let's go ahead and throw it back towards her.
Right?
Yes, because
Well,
I'm
it's
like,
not- it's
yes,
not-
it does.
Well, it's not like we didn't
We
have
live in a
all these-
misogynistic culture.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
pretty
every
obvious.
single president that we've had, with 4 exceptions, have been white Protestant males, all around the age of like 50 to 80. I guess.
Hey,
now.
Bernie
Yeah.
is not
Oh,
Protestant.
I know exactly.
All
Well,
right,
that's
you don't
why there's
believe in no
4
God.
Exceptions. Obama. Yeah.
Well, the only reason I
We've
said-
had Catholic or
Catholic
JFK
JFK.
was a
He
big
was shot.
deal. Yeah, exactly.
but
So maybe we should
Or
have
was
some
he?
change.
we had Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar,
Yeah.
we had Elizabeth Warren on there. To me, a little bit, I don't really understand the idea of this whole sexism thing, especially with the DNC, if they actually
But where are
have
they
women
now?
up.
Yeah,
well, they obviously
exactly.
didn't. You vote for the person that's best for the job,
Hey,
right?
man,
Does
I'm
that
voting-
make it
Yeah, yeah.
sexism?
I mean, it doesn't, because this whole system is sexist is the big part of the problem, is that women can't succeed in it because they're seen as angry, emotional, they're criticized for how they look, what they wear, when no one does that to the men. When the men are emotional, they're being brave and standing up. So even though my candidate of choice was not a female this year, I still love Elizabeth Warren, and I think she's incredible and more than qualified.
Did you have a hard time though with the fake little like beer? I like a beer hokiness.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's
like when Clinton has the hot sauce in her purse and she pulls out for the black person she's
the
talking to.
millennial
Like,
thing,
and
was
it's like
beautiful.
that was her. She's like, I don't drink, but
she
here's
did that
my
like
beer.
well, she
I
did
was
that
like,
whole
dude, it killed me. I was like, no,
she did that
stop,
whole
please.
campaign where she's like, donate $3 and you can have a beer with me. And I'm like, okay, Grandma. Like,
It's
no
I'm like, you
one
cannot
cares.
buy
Right.
a beer for $3, okay?
It's
Get
just like
with the
people
times.
like David Cameron who went out to get a hot dog with the people of London and he ended up eating it with a fork, you know?
Yeah, right, it's funny. But-
Or was it Pete that was like eating pizza with a knife and fork?
Oh,
Pete
that was De Blasio.
Yeah.
De Blasio.
Oh, yeah.
De Blasio.
Who is
People are
from
like,
New
no.
York.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the coronavirus is going around. You don't
Yeah.
want to actually put your hands on top.
I
of
think
it.
anytime politicians are trying to be cool, it's always going to be hokey and weird because
But
they're
it-
usually the people who weren't cool.
But
I mean,
it is my
besides Obama.
favorite thing.
But
I love it.
You guys heard from us like on TLDR, right? We were talking about how the millennial turnout, and you got
disgusting.
are the largest voting.
All right, hold on one
bloc in
second.
the
Did you
country.
vote?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Hey, I'm the
Early.
youngest. I'm the youngest person in this room. And
All
I
right,
voted.
interns,
Yeah.
peeps, did you all vote?
Yeah, you
All
gotta
right.
say yeah.
And if you didn't, please lie, because I'm about to
So-
call you out.
If you used your fake ID to drink and not vote,
'Cause
you should
it's-
be
You got a
ashamed.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. If you didn't use your fake ID to
You
go
should
vote.
have
wrong with
voted
you?
twice. One with your
Yeah.
real ID, and the second time with your
Exactly.
No,
fake.
we're not advocating for that on the Millennial Talk Show. Hey, but
Speak for yourself. No, I'm just kidding.
but
I'm just kidding.
It is startling to see because you get these really Instagram perfect-esque, live streams from Bernie Sanders, and then you
Yeah.
hear about his home state of Vermont only pulling in 10% of the millennials to actually go out and vote.
How
for
crazy
him.
is that?
To me,
Crazy.
it's totally insane
California
because
came out.
he's also
yeah.
pulling in the biggest grassroots rallies that we've seen all over the country. And why? Do you guys have maybe an understanding? Because I feel like Shaquille O'Neal with
Yeah.
like marbles in my mouth because I get so frustrated. I have no idea.
Shaquille
how-
O'Neal with marbles in my mouth?
Yeah, you don't even want to imagine it, okay? Because he can't get anything out.
Wait, is Shaquille O'Neal in your mouth, or is he holding marbles in your mouth?
That's a
What's
good
going
point. I think I probably
don't
have
know-
Shaquille
I don't
O'Neal in
know
my mouth
if-
because I can't
Hey,
speak.
how wide
I
can
get
you
it.
open?
I get it.
I heard he's pretty big.
Yeah.
I can't.
I think he can fit.
But no, on a real level, it's really frustrating to see that
Yeah.
the millennials
Yeah.
are not showing up, and sometimes I want to feel like they don't understand the significance of what Super Tuesday is all about. I mean, do you guys feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, look, this has been an issue for years, and it's not changed now. It probably won't change for a long time. It's the same issue that England had with Brexit. It's the same issue that Bernie had in 2016.
Yeah.
Young people don't vote.
And he pulled in
And-
less
and
numbers
they
than
are-
2016
and they are
too.
not utilizing their civic duty. It
Yeah.
is our duty to actually vote.
Well, I've
People
always-
have died for it.
I've always promoted, and this is so unpopular, but an Australian-based system of not forced voting, but legal voting, where you are required by law to vote. I don't understand this. First of all, I think it's ridiculous that convicts can't vote. I think convicts should be not only able to vote, they should
I think
have to
convicts
vote.
who have an opportunity to leave the prison system.
Yeah,
I do not
not
think
death
convicts
row.
who
Yeah.
have dead row lifers.
sexual
Yeah,
We don't need
offenders,
Charlie
like-
Manson
there's a
voting.
difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference there, but certain small drug crimes. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, anybody with a marijuana conviction needs to be overturned.
Well,
Hey,
right.
What they
Amen.
say, if the rich can make money off it, the poor should get
Yeah.
their records clean.
The dispensary looks like
Come-
an Apple store.
But-
Get the people out of jail.
From an outsider's perspective, especially when I'm watching a lot of these presidential debates with the Democratic Party, it seems like every question is geared towards something of a policy that Bernie Sanders wants to implement.
Yeah.
Every conversation's geared towards him. And now you're seeing this crazy transition that's happening with the DNC party where everybody is flocking towards Joe Biden. And one of the startling things that I
the
thought this
DNC
week
party has always been flocking
Well,
behind
let me finish
Biden, just
because-
like they flocked behind Hillary.
Well, let me finish because
Spoon-fed our
it's
delegate.
really interesting to see Beto O'Rourke come out and vote for Joe Biden, even though he
Yeah.
spoke very distastefully over
I'm
him.
from Texas. I was was
Amy
kinda surprised
Klobuchar,
by
right?
that. Yeah.
You got Mayor Pete, who all went with Biden. And
I'm not.
Elizabeth Warren is the only candidate who did not endorse anybody right
Yeah,
after she dropped out of
Who
the
do you
race.
think she's going to endorse?
I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if she didn't endorse anybody.
I would
You think
love
not?
for
Really?
her to jump
Why not?
onto the Bernie progressive train because they're both running the same progressive ticket. They both have very similar views as far as like what they want, as far as universal health care, as far as all of these things that we in America, for some reason, think of as progressive when they're implemented in every other country almost in the world, some for almost a decade now. And we think that it's progressive to like make people important
Do
and
you
not
think-
make us a ATM machine.
Yeah, do you think
Yeah.
she's holding off because she's trying to figure out what Biden wants to give her if she puts her nomination behind or if Bernie, so she's not
I
even
don't
looking at
know.
her own?
Maybe. I mean,
I
Well,
think
you heard
it's
Andrew
tough.
Yang wanted to be Joe Biden's VP, and I think he should be the Secretary of Treasury because he says he's
Yeah,
good at
give-
math.
give me
right?
five- give me
Asians are good at
$1,000 a
math.
month,
so
please.
$1,000 a month of
Please.
universal income, I can get behind that.
They had a study done in Stockton. So like 95 people got $500 a month, and they wanted to see what did they spend it on, and they were spending it on education. They were spending it on other things that like made their life better. It wasn't just, hey, I'm going to the liquor store and getting some more alcohol, or I went to Disneyland. I mean, they are doing some personal upkeep, which we all have to have self-care.
Yeah.
But it's proven so far in Stockton that $500 a month is making a huge difference in people's lives. So
Yeah,
I'll take
and we
it.
all
Well,
spend
yeah.
more than that already on sending Trump to a golf course. So,
And you know who I want to pay for it? I want people like my mom to pay for
But
it.
what I
You
will
hearing that,
say,
Mommy?
what I will say though about the Republican Party and Donald Trump is, I've never seen them come together more than anybody else
It's
has
insane.
before.
Yeah.
Like
we're in a crisis.
we should, if you're not for the Conservative Party, you obviously they got their stuff more together, I would have to say, than the
Oh, of
DNC.
course.
DNC still hasn't came up with the plan for the last 3 years. They don't even know
Yeah.
Do
what
you-
they want to fight
Do you know
for.
what I'll give the Republican Party? Like I am nonpartisan, so I do not go Democratic or Republican. They, as much as they did not want Trump to be the nominee, they went off of the vote of their party.
Exactly.
They did not argue with it. They go, okay, fine. If this is where we're going, we're going to go ahead. We tried not to, and now we're going to throw it all in. And they have always thrown it all in all
Yeah.
this way through. So I'll give them that as a party establishment. But also one of the biggest problems are people are going to be voting with their wallet.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and right now, people's wallets aren't being hurt. Now, people's rights are being infringed upon. I mean, there are some huge stuff. But as far as our economy right now, people who are owning homes, who have that, who are voting.
Yeah.
Hello, who are voting?
Hey, but hello,
They're
we got
making it
student
up.
debt. We want affordable housing.
we're not
but
voting.
we're not
voting.
voting.
But we're
that,
not
no, but that
voting.
is a
that's,
good point.
That's the
And that's
issue,
the
I think, is
problem.
that we, as young people, think of ourselves as invincible, or we think our vote doesn't matter, or this is all the old people's game. But, like,
Yeah.
I got breast cancer when I was 26. I had no family history. I already
Wow.
had student debt, so now I'm like, oh, great. So I'm going to have
You're-
bad credit for, like,
do you
seemingly
think-
ever
Yeah.
because I
and,
went to
we're
college
not that
and
young
got
anymore,
sick.
honestly.
Yeah.
Millennials, 26 to 40 people.
Yeah,
We
and-
actually aren't that young.
And there's so
Oh,
many
wait.
things like we can't buy the environment back. We can't we haven't been able to buy cures for the coronavirus, for cancer. There's all of these
Yeah.
things that are so out of our control that we should, as citizens of a great country, be able to be like, my country is taking care of me.
What you told me on the phone was, you're like, I feel a little embarrassed to say that I voted for Joe Biden. And I'm wondering, are
Don't
there...
look at me like that, Annie.
No, but
No, I like Joe
Now
Biden.
they'll be
No, I
real
think
lover.
Joe's a good guy, but I never
I'll-
heard a Democratic voter ever say they felt worried about how someone's going to feel about them for voting for somebody, which that's
yeah.
kind of scary to
Allow
me.
me to defend myself. I want to make sure I say this right.
Yeah.
I was originally, I'm going to just say, when this election started, I was originally Cory Booker. And I followed Cory Booker since he was the mayor of Newark. I've loved Cory Booker all that time. I've read his book. Like, he's amazing. When it became evident that Cory
liked
Booker
him.
was not going to work out, which was very early on, I went on to Pete Buttigieg. And I really liked Pete Buttigieg, and then it started to become more and more evident that he wasn't going to work out either. I like Bernie Sanders. I think Bernie's a great guy. If anything, he's probably the most genuine person on that stage. But we are at a crisis in the Democratic Party. We are so divided. And just on top of that, we also need to worry about getting those independent voters that are leaning a bit more conservative, but are also never Trumpers.
Right, moderates.
You're not
yeah.
going to win moderates with somebody like Bernie Sanders. And you're running a race of ideology versus realism.
True.
And that's how I feel about it. So I vote for Joe Biden because I vote for a realistic stance. You know, I look at Bernie and I think, yes, I would love to have a single-payer health care system. But I also look at Bernie and I say, there's no way in hell that you are getting that past the House or the Senate.
Yeah.
That's true, especially with the Republican
I'm going to throw
Party.
this out to listeners, right? Because we're going to have to start going.
Okay.
But when has a centralist ever won against a populist?
It's a very good question.
Never.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. A centralist has never won against a populist.
Because Trump is not.
Now, I'm
a
not saying if
Republican.
you have two populists, guaranteed Trumps. I'm not saying that. But
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
saying history has proven.
But like,
Right?
I
So
think that's
dun,
a great
dun,
point,
dun, who
showing
knows?
you know, Godfrey, you're really
Dun, dun,
honest with the
dun.
listeners, just letting you know about the progression of the candidates you wanted. Thing with the Republicans, it seems like they already know who their man is, and I think that's going to be a strong force. And
But
it's
it's
going to
not
be
unrealistic to join the rest of the world and being kind to everyone.
the
What?
we
I don't believe in that shit.
Let's be kind for everybody. Hey, this is the Chris Collins Show. Stick around. We still got another half of the show.
And where can they find you all on your social medias?
Oh yeah, you can follow me at the Annie Bond. That's TheAnniebond as in dog.
You can follow me at Godfrey Flax. That's GODFREY FLAX, like the airport.
And where is the musical?
It's at the Broadwater Second Stage in Hollywood, and we are running the next 2 weekends. So get out there because we
And
have been
see.
selling out.
That's right. Grab your tickets for Law and Order, the musical.
And if you like what you're listening to, go to thechriscollinsshow.com and become a member today.
What's good? I'm Chris Collins. For more updates on the future of our generation, be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out thechriscollinsshow.com. Peace.